To recap, in the last lesson we created our first shader for the cup of the cupcake, and now we can continue with the rest of the model. Like the last time, let's select an object, in this case the cream and sprinkles, and add a material from the material settings. This material goes to the cream, but how do we assign a material to the sprinkles? Add a second material slot and give it a new material. Now we will need to jump back into the GeoNodes editor. Here we need to specify a material specially for the sprinkles. Get a set material node and place it right after the icosphere. Then, from the rollout menu, pick the material we just created. It doesn't look like something happened, but if we go back to the material editor and make sure we are editing the sprinkles material and we change the diffuse, we can see we are editing the right thing. To start things off, we can give a more saturated and bright color in the diffuse so that it looks more like candy, and also make sure that the roughness is low. Sprinkles usually have a nice shiny surface. The thing is, they still look rather like plastic. To fix that, we can up the metalness parameter. This is a value that blends between a material that is strictly determined by its color and the material that looks is determined by how it reflects its environment. For simplicity, we divide those two types of materials into dielectrics and metals. Now that we have the look we're going for, let's bring in some variety. To do that, we need to drive the color of the sprinkles by their individual instances. Depending on what you have in your scene, we can use either the object info node, the geometry node, or the particle info node. In this case, we have scattered objects, so we'll use the object info. Each output will give shading to our sprinkles based on different attributes, and for this, the random attribute seems to work best, as it gives a random gray value for each sprinkle. To give them color, we can either multiply that by a color or use it to drive the hue in a hue saturation value node. But the easiest way is to just grab a color ramp node. That way, we can match any color we want to specific gray values we get from the object info node. By the way I'm previewing each of those nodes is simply by connecting it to the surface input of the material node. Okay, now all we are left to do is plug it in the color ramp with the base color slot of the principal BSDF, and make sure that the BSDF output is plugged into the surface of the material node. To quickly summarize, in this video we learned about the metalness parameter, the electric and non-conductive materials, and an easy way to introduce some variation. In the next lesson, we will see how to add texture to our materials. Also, if you have skipped some of the previous steps but wish to follow along from here, you can get all the project files for this tutorial series from the link in the description below. I'll also be adding some bonus videos in there if anyone wants to speed up their learning process. Subscribe for more tutorials and see you in the next episode.